How to make any motivated seller open up to you in your wholesaling real estate business. Guys, my name is Rick Ginn, and I'm going to share with you the tips, the secrets, and the strategies I use to have any motivated seller actually tell me the truth. But before I get into it, do me a favor, make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button to receive the absolute best information on wholesaling today. So you guys understand wholesaling is a completely different business than most business models out there. In fact, I'm here to tell you we are the complete opposite. You see, most businesses operate from a transactional point, meaning you go to your grocery store, you pick up your groceries, and you scan them on there. You never ever ask for a discount. You don't ask a lot of questions. And honestly, how much conversation are you really having with the checkout clerk? Little to none. How you doing? Move on, scan it. And you guys don't say a word, and you're perfectly fine with that. In fact, almost all businesses in the life that you are connected to operate in a transactional viewpoint. Now, fast forward to wholesaling. We're the complete opposite. I'm here to tell you if you operate from a transactional point in wholesaling, you will get killed. In fact, I'm here to tell you the only reason they're considering you as a wholesaler is because you're solving a major problem and they have trust built up in you. Without the trust, without solving a problem, you're nothing more than transactional. And guys, transactional deals in real estate, they go to MLS. Why? Because it's a box, you check it, you either pay it, maybe you negotiate a little bit, but to truly get traction in wholesaling, you have to build a relationship. And this is the step we call rapport building. And if you don't understand this, or you don't think you want to do it in wholesaling, get out now, because it's not going to work. You see, in wholesaling, we want to pay the least amount. You see, as a realtor, you want someone to pay the most amount, and for that, we are completely different. So get rid of your transactional thinking. You have to lose it. You actually have to build rapport, and all rapport is developing a relationship with your prospects. These are your sellers. Think about this. If you had a friend that is in the roofing business and you got a leak in your roof, are you going to go online, or are you going to make a bunch of phone calls to find a roofer? No. You're going to go straight to your friend. Why? Because you trust them, you rely on them, and you believe in them. You have a relationship. And this is the fundamental difference of how me and Zach operate, and most other wholesalers don't. If you're transactional, you have to pay the most to get the seller to go with you. If you do it from a relationship aspect, whoever has the best relationship with the highest skill set is going to get the deal. I'm going to share 3 quick tips for you on how to build the best relationships. And I want to give sound fundamental advice. I'm not going to give you slick used car salesman, because the reality is this is not sales training. You basically are a guide, meaning you are guiding your sellers. You found a seller that is in a distressed situation. All you need to do is say the right things and move them forward. In fact, in the beginning, if you just help them out, you'll do fine. Stop trying to oversell them. There's only one solution here. It's got to be you, and it's got to be for the right price that works for both parties. So tip number 1 is use your seller's name. I'm telling you, using somebody's name goes a long way. Now take your time and make sure you get the pronunciation right. A lot of people call me Jin. It drives me nuts. I am actually Ginn. And so when someone doesn't call me by the right name, I know they're not paying attention to what I keep telling them. So another trick is people who use your first name. Hey, Rick. Hey, Rick. Every time you hear your name, you snap your head around. It is wired in your body. You've been called it your entire life. Use it. The reason you want to use the seller's name is you can find out if they're paying attention to what you're saying. And by the way, you can't use their name enough. And if you aren't using the seller's name, their preferred name, you aren't wholesaling. You got to do that. The second tip, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. Act accordingly. The better you listen in wholesaling, the more money you make. And the reality of some of you guys and gals, your ego is just too big and you dominate conversation and you don't let your sellers talk. Now, 20%, you're like, well, oh my God, Rick, that's really light. 20% have to be crafted, qualifying questions so you can get information from your seller. 2 ears, 1 mouth. There is a reason for this. And if you stick to this rule, you'll do very well with wholesaling. If you run your mouth and you don't let your sellers talk, you can't craft a solution to solve your seller's problem. Use your ears 80% of the time listening. And my third tip is when you start out talking with a motivated seller, please try to avoid yes and no questions off the bat. It becomes a test. Do you own the house? Yes. Does the house have impact windows? No. Do you get no reaction? You get no. Yes, no doesn't give me much clarification. It's good data, but it's terrible for building rapport which ultimately means you're building a relationship. So avoid yes/no questions off the bat. You'll have plenty of times towards the middle and the end they ask that. In the beginning, your seller doesn't know you, and they're trying to establish if you're trustworthy. And if you just do yes and no and you're a robot, they're used to this all day on web forms, on computers, at doctors' offices. Be the opposite. This is where you're going to ask open-ended questions. How's the weather going? Tell me more about your children. You've got to break the ice, guys, and you can't go in. Some of you are so quick to qualify, you forget the whole point of being a wholesaler. You have to build a relationship, otherwise the deal doesn't work. So let's talk about ways to actually build a relationship to get sellers to open up to you. So number one, understand you're unique. You're the only one on the planet like you, and God gave you unique abilities. You need to find out what it is. If you don't know what it is, ask a child. They'll usually tell you in 2 seconds if they know you. Maybe you're funny. Maybe you're empathetic. Maybe you're extremely thorough. Maybe you have a photographic memory. Whatever it is, use it, because it really impresses sellers and it gives you that aspect of developing a relationship. If they know something unique about you, it becomes much more personal. And when it becomes personal, now you are getting to the foundation of truly developing a relationship. Here's the keys to really breaking any relationship. If you can get anyone to laugh, smile, agree with you, to share personal stories, this is the key of getting the best wholesale deal. And once you do that, you are not transactional anymore. Now they can relate to you on a emotional status. And this is where you can bring out the emotional response. And honestly, the emotional response is what got them in this position. And your job as a wholesaler is to help them out. And the only way you can help them out is get them to talk to you and tell you the truth. You see, guys, real estate is nothing more than a symptom of people's problems. So if you understand that, we already found the symptom, the real estate, it's just a math problem. Don't worry about that. That's easy. And you shouldn't be overcomping anyways. The reality is you have to get in there and help them solve their problem. So you have to invoke emotion from the seller. And the only way you can do it is of a personal nature. So for you to invoke an emotional response from your seller, you're going to have to get personal with them. And the best way to do that is basically listen to what the seller wants to accomplish by working with you as the wholesaler. Once you understand what the seller wants to accomplish, simply with statements like this, how do you think that would make you feel? Or once we get your house sold, what are your plans going forward? See, by having them look at their end problem, I always take what the seller tells me. So simply by asking the seller, what do you want to accomplish by working with me? They're going to say, listen, they say, Rick, I need to get the house sold by the end of this month so I can move upstate to live with my mother and take care of her. That's really what I want to get done. So once I know what they want to accomplish, everything going forward is going to be catered around what the seller wants to accomplish. You see, if you guide someone and remind them why they reached out to you, you can get them past their fear, the fear of moving and packing, the overwhelming feeling of relocating your life. But keep in mind, people made a decision. It's for the best. They want what's best for their family. And it's common for sellers to get scared. They want to sell it, but it's such a big commitment. In fact, selling a house is one of the hardest things people do based on a recent study. So if you understand it's a hard decision, your job is to help the seller get out of their own way. And the only way you can do that is get to the truth by building a tremendous relationship. The best way to build a relationship is with trust, be interesting, and be unique and different. And that leads me to the next thing is you got to be you. Stop trying to be all these gurus. Don't be Rick. Don't be Zach. Don't be anybody else, because you are here for a reason. Go out and help people. If you truly want to help people, I know when someone needs to get their house sold. You guys know when these houses need to get sold. So you got to help people get out of the way of their own fear. They want to do business with people they trust, they like, and people that are very similar to them. And it's very easy. We teach you all the techniques how to do this. Guys, this is not sales training. This is learning how to be a human and actually helping people out. So when you go to what we call the trial closings, this is basically when you test someone before delivering the contract and say, listen, Mr. Seller, if I could help you get this house sold by the end of the month and get you to where you can easily get up and take care of your mother, and I make it pain-free and I will be transparent and I will be direct with you, is that something we can go ahead and move forward with? I'm always going to use what the seller wants and basically reiterate it. So just take what they want, the first part of the sentence, and then add what it would feel like when we get this all done. And if you do that, you can help the seller get out of their own way. And guys, talk to people. You can't do yes and no answers. You've got to use both ears. Remember, the real estate is just a symptom of the seller's issues. These are people problems we're dealing with. And if you can help people solve their problems by facilitating the real estate, you have done your job in wholesaling. So guys, I want you to use these tips and tricks so you can get sellers to open up to you. Let me know in the comments which ones you're already using, which ones that you haven't tried, or maybe you got some ideas for me. But guys, the key is helping people out. And the only way you can do it is by developing a relationship. Don't be that transactional guy or gal. Go out there and create the best relationship possible, because we want the lowest price. The only way we can do that is with the best relationship. You've got to get this accomplished. Now, if you got value from today, do me a favor, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. This is Rick, and I'll see you in the next video.